the World Cup squad. How do we react to this? Well, we'll grab a bowl of pasta and we sit and have a chat. It's been a while, guys. It's been a while since we sat down and discussed anything sort of football related. It's been a while, at the very least. I know we looked at the kits on Monday. Sorry, I'm actually really hungry. Let's sort of just delve into this. I've got my regular pasta with chorizo, chopped tomatoes, a few herbs here and there, a bit of honey, salt and pepper, chopped tomatoes. I already said that, didn't I? Tomato paste. So good. I've gone for wholemeal pasta today because Becky bought wholemeal pasta, not normal pasta. So I've had wholemeal pasta. You know, it's fair enough. Got a glass of Pepsi in front of me as well. But first off, I want to sort of react to the England squad and talk about what's likely to happen. Now, I want to start off by talking about the omissions, the people that didn't quite make it, and my verdict on them. You know, there's a few big names that were left out, which you'd have had to have done. You know, there are going to be names missing from this list, regardless of who does get picked. Those that get picked means that some don't. That's just how it works. Number one, I'll probably go with Abraham being missed out. Personally, I wouldn't have taken him, just because his stats this season haven't been that great. I know he's a great forward, but he hasn't necessarily been hitting it for Roma this season. I think it's only like 4 goals in like 11 games or something daft. So they went with Callum Wilson. Now the other name they missed off that striker list was Ivan Toney. Now, Arsenal just scored. Jeez, there we go. Against the Wolves. Now I know, in my opinion, it would have been between Callum Wilson and Ivan Toney. I don't know who else missed out on striker. I'd have gone with Ivan Toney over Callum Wilson. I just think, at the end of the day, the likelihood of either of them playing over the likes of Sterling, Rashford, Harry Kane up top. I know Sterling's predominantly a winger for England, but can play that striker role, has done at Chelsea once or twice. But it was Marcus Rashford, exactly the same. He's usually a winger, but a striker, so they brought a backup striker. He's not going to play. Not very often, anyway. So why take someone like Callum Wilson that's just on a bit of form when you could take someone that's on a bit of form, such as Ivan Toney, but he's also one of the most renowned penalty takers in the world. So that's like 20 in 20. He scored 20 out of 20 penalties. Thomas Frank thinks he's the best penalty taker in the world. Now I know Harry Kane will be in game, will be predominantly on penalties. But if it comes to it, which it does with England a lot, right? We always say we lose on penalties. Why don't we just take that one penalty taker that we know is going to bag a goal? Baffles my brain. Moving on to the midfield. I don't really know who in the midfield missed out. Bellingham's going, Conor Gallagher's going, Declan Rice, Calvin Phillips, Mason Mount and Henderson. I'd have probably chosen them 6, personally. I'm trying to think who's really, really missed out here. In terms of England midfielders. I'm probably missing someone off the top of my head, but hey ho. Oh, Ward-Prowse, that's who it is. Ward-Prowse is the player I'm thinking of. Now, for the people that are going, I don't necessarily think Ward-Prowse gets in ahead. A lot of fans might disagree because of his set piece speciality. You know, he's an incredible free kick taker. But you have to be on the pitch to influence that. Now, with a player like Ivan Toney, who's a penalty taker, if we're heading to penalties, or it's looking likely that we're heading to penalties, you put him on in the last few minutes, ready to take a penalty when it gets there, you know, and just gamble on the fact that we'll make it and we don't concede late on. With a set piece taker like Ward-Prowse, he has to have already been in the game to affect that free kick or corner kick, whatever. So I can understand not taking him, and the fact that Southampton as a team, they're not doing great. They're not doing great this season. The same reason Calvert-Lewin hasn't been picked, because for Everton they've been shite. You know. Moving on to the defence. I saw Reece James' statement saying it was hard to hear, given the fact that, you know, he's injured and he thinks he should be back by the time we hit some games. But the medical staff say he probably won't be back in time for the groups, which is fair enough. I can understand not taking him on that half. Like, if it were me, I wouldn't have gambled on taking an injured player. But we've taken Calvin Phillips, who's injured, not playing full. He's played 160 minutes of football. He's played 160 minutes of football for Man City this season. The fuck? That's no excuse not to take Reece James. Just in my opinion. You're taking Kyle Walker, who is injured. And Gareth Southgate himself has said he is injured, but he should be back for the group stages. What if he isn't? You've just taken an injured player there. And you've told Reece James you're not taking him because he's injured. Just seems a bit of a kick in the face, you know. But, again, personally, I wouldn't have taken Reece James just because he's injured. That also means I probably wouldn't have taken Kyle Walker, unfortunately. But hey ho, I'm not in charge. But how has an injured Kyle Walker, who more than likely will play at centre-back for England, mind you, we'll talk about that in a minute, can play right-back, but he's not going to be playing right-back over Trent and Trippier. Like, when you think about it, Trent and Trippier get ahead of him at right-back, especially when Kyle Walker would play as a centre-back. The likes of Ben White will play as a centre-back for England, but can also play right-back. So even if you need a third choice, you think, right, Ben White, you're out there, and you've still taken Kyle Walker over him. Okay. All of that, and you haven't taken the leading Serie A centre-back. One with AC Milan, made numerous appearances, was very, very key. And it's not even like little known, it's very well known. He played a very key part in AC Milan winning the Serie A last season in Fikayo Tomori. You've got pundits like Carragher saying, well, he was shit at Chelsea. You know, he was torn an arsehole twice at Chelsea. Wow. Maguire's never had that done to him, has he? Luke Shaw's never put in a bad performance. Eric Dyer's never been that bad. Tomori left Chelsea and has progressed tremendously in the Serie A, which, by the way, is known for breeding centre-backs and leaders. Bonucci, Chiellini, Thiago Silva was at AC Milan. Just think of the mentality and the way that it's set up to breed defenders. Mixed with the fact that Tomori is one of the fastest defenders in the world, and that's very well known. He's a rapid centre-back. We have got the likes of Eric Dyer and Harry Maguire in our defence, who are two of the slowest defenders. They ain't quick. If we're getting counter-attacked at any point, they're not keeping up with them. Kyle Walker would. He's rapid. Luke Shaw might. John Stones might. But Kyle Walker's injured, and I don't think that defence is anywhere near fast enough. I think we've got no depth in defence. We might have taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 defenders. No depth. At all. Leaving Tomori out is the one and only decision I think Gareth Southgate's really fucked up on so far. Also, Maddison's on the forwards list. I rate him for choosing Maddison, by the way. That is one of them players where he is on form. He's hit the ground running this season. He's done very, very well for Leicester since their poor start. He's proven his worth. And Gareth Southgate's gone, yep, I recognise that he's playing well. Bang. But then taking someone like Harry Maguire and then come out and said, yeah, the younger ones didn't quite push the older ones up. Bollocks. Absolute fucking bollocks. Maguire hasn't put in a solid defensive performance in about a year and a half. And he's still gone ahead of Tomori, who's won the Serie A. Absolute travesty. Total bollocks in my eyes. Complete and utter bollocks. Ivan Toney's on form. I would have taken him ahead of Callum Wilson, but at the same time, I can at least appreciate that Callum Wilson's put in some good performances this year and at least warranted his place in that team. He has. I can't be upset because Callum Wilson does also deserve to go. Maguire doesn't. But Maguire performs for England. He better fucking perform for England. Just imagine, like, moving to Man United, having all that pressure and bottling it, okay? We know that he can't hack the pressure. He just can't. He can't hack it. England fans, Man United fans get on his back. He can't handle it. So, right, okay, he does perform for England. Great, that's how he's warranted his place in the team. But you've said publicly that the reason he's in the team over someone like Tomori is because he plays well for England and he deserved it. Now, deep down he knows he doesn't. Deep down he knows it's luck. But you've now added so much pressure to him to put all these people right and say, look, I am better than these. This is what I deserve my place. You've put all that pressure on him for getting ahead of a player that thoroughly deserved it more. But without a shadow of a doubt deserved it more. You've just added so much pressure onto his plate to actually try and perform well, if and when he's given the opportunity. Baffled. Now, I've been speaking to a football ASMR on Twitter. We're having a few conversations. Top geezer, by the way. Make sure you go and follow and subscribe to him. Ball knowledge for days. Right. And we discussed the fact that he's taken Harry Maguire because Harry Maguire fits a back three more than he does a back four. And we are going to be playing with a back three. Which we are. But now we can only play with a back three. We can only play with a back three. There is a 0% chance we're going to see a back four. Because who's going to want to play at right back in a back four? Trent. Shambolic defending this year. He's been absolutely ripped up this season. Completely. Right. So he's going to be playing wing back. We know that for a fact. And I think he'll thrive there. He really will. He'll thrive in five at the back. Okay, centre backs. If you had John Stones next to Tomori, I think that's solid enough for a back four. John Stones used to playing in a back four. Tomori used to playing in a back four. Now you've got Maguire, who's going to sit in the middle. John Stones on the left. Connor Cody on the right. No, Connor Cody on the left, John Stones on the right. Or Ben White. I think Ben White deserves to go over Connor Cody personally at centre back. Ben White on the right hand side of a back four, of a back five, sorry, of a back three, sorry. Three centre backs. Centre back, centre back, we're going to see Maguire. Left centre back, I think it's going to be John Stones. Right centre back, Ben White. That's how I think we're going to line up. We're now getting into how I think we're going to line up. So it's going to be Pickford in goal. Fair enough. I don't mind Pickford. Pope or Ramsdale, they're the three names on the team sheet I think are solidified across the whole of the UK. No one chooses any other goalkeeper bar them three, personally. I think if one of them does get injured before the World Cup, or balls out just before, I do think it is going to have to be Dean Henderson that goes. One, capped, or at least internationally, played international football. 2, has saved Forest on a number of occasions this season already and is a great keeper by all counts. Yes, the goal difference may look bad. Forest have been shambolic up until maybe this week. So, it's one of those. Like I say, back 3. I think we're going to set up left to right, John Stones, Harry Maguire, Ben White. On the right, we're more than likely going to see Trent. And on the left, we're going to see Luke Shaw. That leaves Eric Dyer, Connor Cody, and Trippier. Trippier back up right back. We've got no backup left backs. Chilwell and Reece James are injured, and that is so heartbreaking because they've had such great seasons. The fact Chilwell missed the last one through injury and now has to miss another international competition through injury is just so sad. And I really hope he makes the next one. We'll play 2 in midfield. Now, Southgate, knowing what Southgate does, will play Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips, or Declan Rice and Jordan Henderson, and play 2 CDMs. That's the most bollocks way to play football in my life. You don't start with 5 at the back and then play 2 CDMs. Okay, play a Declan Rice, who is, by all accounts, a good box-to-box midfielder nowadays, can at least, put in a shift. And then when defending, can actually defend. When attacking, if needs be, you can drop back into that defence, make it a back 4, while the wing-backs push forward as wingers. Okay. Jordan Henderson, Declan Rice, for me, should be one of them midfielders that play in the middle of the 2. Okay. The other one has to be Bellingham. Has to be Bellingham. There's not a chance in hell it shouldn't be. Absolutely incredible midfielder. Has everything it takes to pick up the ball and progress the ball forwards. You've got this defensive formation. You've got the wing backs that can run on. You've got that defensive midfielder that can sit back or bring the ball forward if needs be. You need someone in that middle of the park, that will create opportunities, that will get the ball at their feet and either ping a pass, take a touch forward, have a shot on goal. Bellingham's that man. If it's not Bellingham, it's either got to be Gallagher or Mason Mount. They're the only other 2. Now, if you'd have seen Crystal Palace last season, Chelsea this season, you'll see that Conor Gallagher is very good at doing that Kovacic role of picking up the ball and going forward with it and moving it and looking up. Yes, he's not been that great this season, hasn't really influenced the game as much as he did at Crystal Palace, but you can see what he brings by how he played at Crystal Palace. At the same time, Mason Mount's the same, although is often used as a winger. Potentially could be used as a winger in this system that England play. More than likely will do. I'd prefer to see him a little bit deeper. I think he's got that something in his head that knows how and when to do things. Yes, again this season, Chelsea as a whole haven't been that great, but he's got that ability. And if you need that player in the midfield, if Bellingham's not available, or if you're just rotating, you play that Mason Mount in that centre mid spot that can drift out wide. You've got your one that stays central in your Declan Rice that can box the box. You've got one that can drift right wide. That Metzala type player in the middle. Could be an option. Now the forwards, I think, pick themselves. I think it's very easy. I think, obviously, Harry Kane up top. For me, Harry Kane's got to be up top. You have to play Raheem Sterling on the right or left. Again, doesn't matter which. More than likely on the right-hand side. And Phil Foden on the left. Phil Foden is the golden boy of this generation. He, under Pep Guardiola, could be phenomenal. And I think you just let him have that creativity out wide. Switch sides with Sterling every so often. Drift into that midfield. Just let him do what he does. Incredible. You have the depth to play Maddison out wide. To play Grealish out wide. Bukayo Saka on the right, Sterling on the left, potentially. I know Bukayo Saka's had a great season at Arsenal so far, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do see it being Sterling on the left and Saka on the right. And I tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Bellingham and Mason Mount in the midfield, Declan Rice just behind, and having two strikers of Sterling and Kane, or Rashford and Kane, something like that. I can see that happening. But truthfully, it's got to be if we do, well, we're more than likely going to play a front three. Harry Kane gets in there, Sterling gets in there without a doubt for England. He's one of England's best attackers, in my opinion. Yes, again at Man City and Chelsea, there were a few issues. His record for England's substantial. It needs to be in there. He needs to be in there. So yeah, that's how I believe England should line up. Obviously, I've made my thoughts very clear on the pick. I think that he's got the majority of it right, in my opinion. I don't necessarily think Southgate is the man to lead England to a World Cup, especially the form that Argentina and Brazil are going into. France, not so much, but we all know France could pull it out of the bag any day of the week. They've got such talent. I think the dark horses of the tournament are going to be Portugal. I was having this discussion, and I thought, what the person responded by saying that they're coming into the tournament like England, a horribly defensive manager, great talent, but they just don't know what to do when they're in a squad with each other. And in terms of their form, coming into it with not a great record, but I still think they could do well. They've got such good personnel. With a leader like Ronaldo at their ranks, you can't write them off. They've got a great young squad. They haven't got Jota because he's injured. Otherwise, I think they'd have been a nailed-on quarter-finalist, if not semi-finalist, in my eyes. But we're only 23 minutes in, we can go again. So, I want to talk about how I'd line up England. If I was Gareth Southgate, if I had the pick of the bunch of the players to take, I'd go with the back four. I just think we're England. We've got to show that we're not this depressing defensive team that Southgate likes to think we are. It's daft, really, because our attack is our best asset. Our midfield is incredible. Our defence ain't great. So why the fuck don't we play to our strengths? Why do we play to our weaknesses? Why do we have over the odds of defenders on the pitch when they're our least capable players? Why don't you sacrifice one defender on the pitch that ain't great anyway and put on a much better midfielder that can create a chance, or an attacker that can score a goal, or vice versa? So, I'd personally start Pickford in goal. I think he's England's best goalkeeper. Ramsdale is a lot more composed, and I wouldn't be upset if he started. Neither would I be upset if Ramsdale started. I think Ramsdale has become such a much more mature goalkeeper. He remains calm and collective. Now that he's at Arsenal, now that he's improved as a goalkeeper, wouldn't be surprised if I see Ramsdale start. They're three that I couldn't choose from. It would be a case of who's performing well in training before the game, who looks like they're up for it more. Fair play. Personally, if fit, I'd put Kyle Walker at right back. He isn't, so it's going to have to be Trent at right back, unfortunately. Centre backs, I'd have John Stones and Tomori. Tomori's fit. He should have gone. I'm choosing him. Don't give a shit. I'm choosing Tomori next to John Stones. That's a much quicker centre back partnership. Both between them, they can deal with a counter attack. Also, good ball playing defenders. John Stones has got an absolute pink on him, and if you don't believe me, just go and Google it. He's got a wand of a foot. Left back. I'm taking. It's going to have to be Luke Shaw, isn't it? It's going to have to be Luke Shaw. Wouldn't be surprised actually if we see Trippier out on the left hand side. But I'm taking Luke Shaw again, another one of them players that just seems to perform for England. I don't know whether it's just the Man United system not suiting him or what. He's going to be playing for England, isn't he? He's the only left back we've got. I'd play a three in the midfield, like I said, of Declan Rice, holding it a little deeper. Jude Bellingham on the left, Mason Mount on the right. vice versa, either or. Mason Mount on the left, Bellingham on the right. Potentially, if you're looking at it and you don't think Mason Mount is an out-and-out central midfielder, we can rule him out and I'd still put Gallagher in that midfield, just because of the work rates. I love Jordan Henderson. I know what Jordan Henderson brings to a team, the leadership qualities, the elite mentality of staying focused and making sure you know your job. I rate it, but I think when you've got a player like Declan Rice sitting deep, I think you do need that ability in the middle of the park to just get the ball and run with it. And I think that between Gallagher and Mason Mount and Bellingham, they harness that creative ability a bit better than Henderson does. Again, wouldn't be upset if I have to start Henderson over either of them. I think they're all quality. Wouldn't be starting Calvin Phillips. Wouldn't even get near a substitute in my eyes, in my opinion. 160 minutes of football this season. And he's been chosen to go to the World Cup and will probably start alongside Declan Rice somehow. Oh, go on, Jimenez. What a touch. Oh, he's done too much. Should have just hit it from long range. Anyway. And then, again, I'd have a front three. Harry Kane up top. Sterling on the right. And Foden on the left again. If we were to look at it like that, with that front three, with a Mason Mount in the middle or a Bellingham in the middle that can easily like rotate forwards and backwards, side to side, whatever you want. If it comes to it and we're getting pushed out wide and we need to retain the ball centrally, you can easily convert that to Foden playing just in front of the two centre midfielders, so it narrows the pitch up heavily, and then Sterling and Kane play as a top two. It's like a really thin 4-1-2-1-2. Like if you're playing FIFA, it'd be the 4-1-2-1-2 second variation. Again, really keeping it narrow. If we wanted to push it wide, we could let the wing backs bomb on. You could have Declan Rice sit a little bit deeper, create that back five going forwards. The wingers can stay wide if we need the width. It's there. The versatility is there within that formation, but you've got to make sure them defenders can defend. Harry Maguire could not defend. He has been shown time and time again that he is not capable. Same with Trent. Defending wise, not good enough. Which is why I'd prefer Walker out there, even Ben White out there. Ben White this season has come on leaps and bounds. Too many people, in my opinion, but enough people have been saying that £50 million for Ben White was a steal. I'm coming to the conclusion that they might be right, because he looks far and large a much better defender than Trent is. But if we're talking about England and we're talking about the fact that our defenders aren't good enough, so we need to just create more than the opponents, I do think Trent will be that man to create more. Playing five at the back, he will get involved more than Ben White will. But if we play in a back four, I don't know. Like I say, in an ideal world, we'd have Reece James going, because I think he's the best of both worlds. Say what you want, but at the end of the day, just my opinion. It's just my opinion. Let me know down below on your thoughts of who's actually going to be going, who's actually going to be playing in that first match, what the formation is going to be like, and what we can likely see. I want to see your opinions on this. Again, don't take it for gospel. This is just my opinion. Relatively informed opinion. But anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll catch you later. Goodbye.